Hey, what's up? It's Miguel, and today I want to talk about tracking your progress. Tracking your progress is a way to actually progress faster, right? So if you don't know me, I'm Miguel. I'm a web developer. I teach web development to people all around the world because I believe it's one of the best ways for you to achieve personal and financial freedom in your life. So track your progress. It's super important. I do it every single day, okay? I'm going to teach you how I do it now. But it's really important because by tracking your progress, you actually realize what you're doing and what you're not doing, and how fast you're progressing or how fast you're actually going in the opposite direction, we could say, or stagnating. Stagnating and going downwards is basically the same thing, because you end up going downwards when you stagnate. When you're not making progress, you tend to go downwards, right? So what I do is I have three small booklets, where I have all my repetitions, all the activities I have to do every day. I've built on these booklets as the days have gone by. I started with one, and then I realized I needed more booklets for different sort of categories of activities. So I have one booklet which is for the mind, basically to strengthen the mind. Another booklet which is for programming, and another booklet which is for speaking, right? Speaking on camera, and also doing sort of writing repetitions, we could say. And all these booklets have just the name of the activity, and beside them I write little tallies, right? So little bars for the repetitions I do every day of those activities. And the good thing is that I can go back to the days, so back through the pages, right, and see the different sort of number of repetitions I did for each activity. If I've been progressing, if I've been stagnating, if for whatever reason I've been doing less throughout time, right? So it's really clear what I have to do every single day. Not just the repetitions that I've done previously, but also what I just said, what I have to do every single day. So the tasks that I have to do are evident. So all the booklets are open on my desk to the right. So I work with my computer in front of me, and to my right, the three booklets are open. So I always know what I have to be doing, and if I haven't performed an activity, I will see that it doesn't have a tally. All right, so it will motivate me to understand, hey, if I have like a moment of boredom, one of those moments where you just don't know what to do, and you want to like check your phone to like alleviate boredom or that kind of stuff, you know. What I do is I go to my booklets and look at what activities haven't I done, or what activities have I done few repetitions of, right? And so going kind of back to the example we talked about yesterday of the plant, right? When you have a plant, you have to monitor it, right? You have to check that it's healthy. You have to check that everything's okay with it, and you have to water it every day, right? So there's a certain monitoring that you have to do of this plant, and the plant being you have to monitor all the activities you perform every day to understand when you're actually performing and when you're not performing. It's super easy to forget the activities that you have to do. Okay, it's super easy to like finish the day and think, oh damn, I didn't do that today. I forgot to do X, right? But if you have a clear reference of all the activities you have to do to your right on the desk, booklets open. They're tiny little booklets. They're like not even. They're literally this size, like tiny little booklets. Right? I found them in just a stationery. You can probably go to a stationery and find little booklets. They're like minuscule, literally like this size, right? So what these booklets allow me to do is to not forget the activities I have to do every day, and to make sure that every day I'm improving in some way in those activities. Every day, each of those activities has to have a check mark. Okay, and they're activities that literally take 5 minutes to do if I had to do them. Okay, so for example, I have three booklets. I'm going to go through the booklets now. The first booklet is the first one I made. It's like for mental strengthening, we could say. In that booklet, I have the exercise repetitions I have to do every day. I have the monk stance, which is basically an exercise where you get into a squat position and you resist for 5 minutes, or for however long you can, right? Try and get a few repetitions up to 5 minutes. So if, for example, you're starting with the monk stance, you want to try that. Maybe the first time you try it, you'll last for 40 seconds, but try and do like sets of 40 seconds maybe until you reach 5 minutes, until you can do the 5 minutes straight, right? Another activity I do, meditation. Another activity I have is recording these videos. This strengthens my mind, because putting myself in an outdoor situation where I have to record on camera, maybe surrounded by people or people walking around, maybe thinking, it kind of like alleviates, or it helps me work towards destroying that fear. That's why it's a mental repetition for me. Also, boxing is another mental repetition for me, because it's something hard to do, and something that, first of all, I have to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning to do it. And second of all, it's something that is scary, right? So when you're actually fighting against someone, when you're training boxing, it's hard, right? Because it's hard physical exercise. And also it's scary when you're actually fighting against someone. Getting hit in the head is not something people enjoy doing, right? So fighting that fear and being calm in moments of stress, I think, is very important for the mind. So that's why I consider it another mental repetition. And Apart from that, so that's the mental repetition booklet, one of the small booklets, one of the three. The second one is programming. That's the category of programming. So I literally just write a tally on every single programming session I've done, and I write the time that that programming session lasted. And at the end of the day, I sum up all of those tallies and get basically an end day result, we could say, or an end time of how much I've spent on programming that day. The second and the third and last booklet is the booklet of verbal repetitions, where I do recordings on camera. So in my room, I literally put the camera up in my tripod, and I do camera repetitions. So of the topic I'm going to talk about in that day, I just do several repetitions, maybe 2 or 3 a day, just to make sure that I'm practicing at home. So I have like a coherent message that I want to transmit to you guys, and so that when I actually do perform in a public situation, I can do it maybe on the first, second, third try, right? And the last activity in that verbal repetition booklet is writing. So I call it random writing, where I just sit down and kind of write my thoughts. It's kind of like my personal psychologist, we could say. I just like write down the feelings I'm having, why I'm having them. If for whatever reason I'm feeling a bit down one day because I don't have that much energy, understand why. Kind of revise my goals, revise my whys to make sure that even if I have a bad day, that I'm doing the activities I need to do, reminding myself of the importance of the activities I need to do, right? So these kinds of verbal repetitions I do with random writing, and it serves kind of as my journal as well, right? So I kind of have it as a random writing / journal, just an introspection exercise, or if I want to write about a certain topic that I'm just interested in that day, I do that, okay? It's literally random writing. It could be anything, but generally it tends towards introspection and self-analysis, right? Kind of going into the monitoring topic again. So these are the booklets I have that allow me to track all of these activities that I'm doing every day. And these activities that I do every day have been sort of added progressively into my day. It hasn't just been like, boom, and here you go, all of these activities. Progressively, I've been adding activities. So I started with the exercise because I understood that was good for the mind. Then I progressed into the monk stance meditation, right? Because I understood that they were also important things to strengthen the mind. Then after that, I added boxing, and progressively I added exercises, sort of analyzing my goals and analyzing what things I needed to do to achieve my goals, right? And one of the most important things that I believe you should do if you want to progress towards your goals consistently is strengthen the mind. Put yourself in situations of discomfort. Have that little discomfort booklet. You can call it strengthen the mind, discomfort booklet, whatever you want. Okay, but it's a really important thing because it's going to keep you consistent, and it's going to keep you it's going to keep you with that grit when you have those troublesome days where you just don't feel like doing it. You understand, like, hey man, I have to do these activities, and I know that if I do these activities every day, my mind is going to get stronger, and I'm going to be more sort of in control of myself, and thus more able to perform all the other activities that I need to do throughout the day. Okay, so tracking your progress is super important. I recommend getting those little booklets. Also, get yourself a journal, or open yourself a document in Google Docs and write down every day just the things you've done well throughout the day, the things you could improve, etc. Analyze your life. Literally write about your emotions, the emotions you're having, why you're having them, right? Let it serve as a personal psychologist. Speak to yourself in that way, you know? So these two tips, journaling and tracking, are in a way both related to tracking and monitoring yourself, right? Tracking through the booklet is super important because you have the reference of all the activities you have to do every day, okay? And monitoring yourself in terms of your progress is done through journaling. Okay, so those two activities I find super important to progress fast in your life and to make sure that every day you're trying to make the days more perfect, right? Because you have the visual reference of all the activities you've done, and you also have the monitoring, basically, of your judgment on how well you've done that day compared to other days. All right, so I hope these tips helped you in some way, shape, or form. And if you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. See you in the next one. Do it every day and you'll be okay. Ciao.